So we'll start in a few minutes. Getting ready. Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to Medical Mondays with Dr. O in this heat. But, thank God, hopefully we are all in air-conditioned settings and waiting to enjoy tonight. We have a lot of mental health issues going on around us and around the world today, just because of all that is going on. So you'll be wondering why we've been focusing a lot, every week, every few weeks, we come back to mental health. That's why, because we want to make sure that we have our mental health intact. Dr. Toyin Okwesami, and my background is in family medicine, HIV medicine, and addictions. And in people, really, in us. Tonight, we're going to talk about, or we're going to talk about and hear about the hidden cost of having it together. Does high functioning mean that one is healed? Our very own counselor, member of Medical Mondays with Dr. O, Aramide Adedeji, is going to expatiate on this for us tonight. And I hope she goes into some of the things I've been reading that she's been putting online. I read one recently. If she doesn't talk about it, I'll talk about it at the end of the program. So without much ado, I'm going to yield to Aramide. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. O. Good evening, everyone. My name again is Aramide Adedeji. I'm the founder of I Am the Message LLC, founded around the book that I wrote 2 years ago, From Healing from Domestic Violence, and working through my own issues with domestic violence, but also as a therapist of almost 18 years now, working with other people in my practice who have experienced domestic violence and other issues such as depression, anxiety, and a myriad of other issues. So this topic, Dr. O is alluding to my Substack that I have found new passion in because I want to write a second book, but I have itchy fingers and I want to write before I get to the book that has multiple chapters. So Substack, if for those who don't know, it's an app that is available to authors who want to write articles and write, maybe short stories and things like that. So my focus and my practice is helping people uncover how trauma is hidden. And so this Substack channel has allowed me to meet with a lot of people, really uncovering the traumatic experiences that we experience and naming what trauma is. A lot of times people don't want to name it, especially, I'm Nigerian. And so Africans don't name trauma. You pray about it or just get over it, be strong, things like that. There's a lot of things that trauma is behind it all. And one of the ones that is usually hidden is high functioning. And I've been on Medical Mondays a few times, there's a lot of high functioning people in here, right? Academically high functioning, emotionally high functioning, you are the go-to person. And while that's good, life usually rewards us for that. What happens to the things that actually have happened to you? What do you do with those things? So that's what we're going to talk about today, to really uncover how that looks like for a high functioning person who also has experienced traumatic things and has just used that as a channel to be great. And that's good, but you still need to be healed. You still need to figure out a way to work through the things that you've gone through. All right, so I'm going to move to the next slide. So before we go into quietly exhausted, I wanted to see, and I don't think I can do it like this, because I want to see who's in the room and who. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask a couple questions. And I want people to raise their hand if you find yourself to be this person. Okay. All right. So raise your hand. I guess the raise hand feature is available to you. Raise your hand if you are the person that usually says, I'm fine. I'm fine, busy, but good. Okay. I see one hand. I can't see all the hands. You see, I saw one hand for sure. Okay, Dr. O, I see your hand. Fine, busy, but okay. I see a few hands coming in. All right. Okay.
Oh, forever
Okay.
busy, but okay.
Yeah, I'm busy. Yeah,
Oh boy.
yeah, that's the go-to. I see quite a few hands. Okay, thank you. Keep them up if you are the person that all your friends and family call when something goes wrong. Okay. All right. See hands. All right. Okay. All right. And then last question. Now, keep them up for a third time if you actually can't remember the last time someone took care of you the way you take care of everyone else. Ooh, all those hands. Okay. All right. So, looks like a lot of people are in the right place tonight. You can majestically put down your hands because you're always holding it up, usually for everyone else. So you can place them down tonight. And we're going to walk you through why you have been ignoring your stuff while taking care of everyone else's. So we're going to talk about the quietly exhausted. Based on the hands, I think this fits a lot of people. Whoops, go back. All right. So there's a lot of quietly exhausted people. I know I'm definitely one. I'm not only a mental health professional, I'm a consultant, I'm an author, I'm a mom, I'm a minister at my church, and I just have a lot of hats and I'm exhausted. And but quietly exhausted. No one usually knows how exhausted I am. If I do share that, maybe one or two people, if that. And by the time I share, I'm so exhausted that, I've shut everything down and they are looking for me. Where have you been? What's going on? That's when it gets to that level. Now that everyone's looking for me, but otherwise, usually quietly exhausted, handling the day to day. So this person rarely gets asked if they're okay, and not because no one cares, but because everything about them communicates that they are already okay. So the way that you've carried yourself and all of these things, and I'll tie it into childhood, all of these things has been built into your character, who you've been. You're the child who, always did well in school. You stayed out of everyone's way. You rarely got in trouble. I have quite a few clients like that. So it's not that people don't care. If you actually spoke to them, I had a client earlier today. She is definitely this person. People do care, but they rarely ask because the assumption is, oh, you're fine, because you usually handle yourself while also handling other people. And if we are honest, there's external success attached to that. So when I remember talking to a client one time, she has a younger brother, maybe 3 years younger than her. And the younger brother the younger brother would often get in trouble. He had real challenges, the parents had to go back and forth to a psychiatrist. He had to be placed in a facility for a little while. So that my client, this was when she was like 5 and 7, she saw that she needed to be out of the parents' way. She needed to be the one that did not cause them any extra issues because all of their attention was on her brother. So she maintained that. She maintained that position of being the quote unquote the good kid, the one that doesn't have issues, the one that doesn't ruffle feathers or rock the boat. She maintained good grades in school. She actually exceeded expectations and all that. So the parents really didn't have any issues with that. While that can be exhausting, there's also success with that because you're the one that's called on and there's something internally happening to you as you're receiving that external validation, external success. You're the first one to be called, and something inside of you says, I'm the first one to be called. And you feel excited about that. Meanwhile, not recognizing, like this client that I mentioned, not recognizing that, well, actually, I wanted attention too. I wanted my parents to spend time with me too. And now she's a 35-year-old client with me now, years later, looking for something that she really can't get from the parents anymore, but now she's seeking it from other places. And then there's a silent cost to that. By every external measure, there are thriving. So these people who are high functioning, you're thriving. You're the one that's getting constantly promoted. You're the one that everyone goes to. Oh, she can solve it. Just go to her. She's great. She's amazing. Very often you're the one that's the most exhausted in the room because it is a very heavy crown to be the go-to person in every space, in every part of your life. So that's why we call it the quietly exhausted, because it is unheard of for the high functioning person to admit that unless you are being intentional about taking care of yourself. Once you do that, then you're ready to admit, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I don't want to carry all these crowns anymore. Right. So I wanted to explain what high functioning trauma looks like. High functioning trauma, or let me say the definition. This is when the lasting effects of trauma show up not as visible struggle, but as relentless capacity. So basically, you have capacity to handle juggle all these balls in the air. You're able to take on other people's trauma. You're able to say the right things. You're able to be everything for everyone. So relentless capacity, achievement, reliability, and composure used as armor. On the outside, you look like you have it all together. On the inside, you're running on a survival strategy that says being useful and never a burden is how I stay safe and loved. So I want to pause for a couple seconds and let a couple people either speak to whether this is you or someone, or what does this definition mean to you. So I'm gonna pause really quick to let people speak up on that. You can unmute. Anybody?
Okay, I'm gonna comment. I'm off video with permission, so forgive me.
No problem.
I think for me, the challenge is if you grew up in the mindset, and some of us who are very much involved in church, you hear this concept, servanthood.
Mm-hmm.
So in that space, you think it's okay to give without realizing you can't pour out what you don't have.
Right. Right. And to further that point, you can't pour out from what is not enough. So you have a cup and everyone's thirsty And not only are you rationing it out to everyone else so they can feel quenched, but you also ration out yours. So it's available, but it's just you're giving out more than what's available to you. And sometimes, being able to recognize that is such a revelation that it is life altering. I've had clients where once they reach that point of saying, I, I want to serve myself in this way while I serve others. You can absolutely be a minister in church while you understand that I need to retreat to replenish, and so that's a concept that a lot of times, and I'm glad that you said from childhood and from growing up and all that, that's where a lot of that mindset comes from. You are taught this high functioning status. You are given that by someone who was raising you, and by you now seeing a reward from being that high functioning individual. You received something, it looked like it was the best thing for you. It looked like it pushed you to excel, to be great, and all of that, while also not recognizing some of the things that it took away. Like I used as an example, my client who basically later on in life, maybe 20 years down the line, is like, I don't think that was really fair. I needed to get some attention too. So thank you for sharing, Miss Ellen. Anybody else? Do you see yourself in this definition, high functioning trauma? Okay, can't see everyone. Okay. All right, so we will move on. Can I get a thumbs up if everyone understands this definition, at least? Let me get that. If everyone understands this definition. I can't see if everyone's doing that. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, okay, so we're gonna move on. Okay, so sometimes the high functioning folks, they start to internalize being useful. And useful, it feeds you in a way that kind of takes away from the way that you take care of yourself at times. And the secret behind that is that you believe that you're taking care of yourself just as well as you are taking care of others. And sometimes it just does not bear the truth. What happens when you are sick? What happens when you really are in financial straits? Do you call, or are you always the one receiving a call and you figuring out? I was talking to one of my clients this morning. She is a physician, and she has uh, three brothers, two that it appears she takes care of in a way, and um, and there's just a way that she is carrying the weight of making sure that they're good. And that speaks to this notion of being useful enough. There's something that feeds her as she helps them and supports them. So in that same space, my question to her is that, well, who supports you and in what way do they? And there's no answer to that. She can't give an answer to that because no one is in the way that she supports them. So this quote, if I am useful enough, capable enough, and never a burden, I will be safe. So if I output and never have to need support from everyone, then I should be okay because I'm capable. I'm strong enough to take care of myself. And that's usually, in that reasoning, that's usually where we harm ourselves. All right, trauma misunderstood. Okay, so trauma misunderstood. What we picture is an absolute collapse. So if I name trauma, if I say I'm experiencing something traumatic, or this period is a traumatic period, or even what has happened to me in my childhood or in a relationship, people often picture absolute collapse. What we anticipate is we can't function, we can't take care of our daily needs, our children will suffer, work starts to decline, emotionally unstable, drop in responsibility, life visually put on pause. It doesn't look like the way that you've been functioning every day. And what the high functioning reality is that you do not collapse actually, but that's when you actually turn up your competence, your laser focus, you are um there's no struggle with visibility. You know exactly what needs to happen and you're pushing through no matter what you're feeling. And I'm gonna actually insert myself. I had a moment, and I'm gonna put Dr. O on blast here. I'm gonna share my brief story. I I've I was having a moment with my daughter. She had some kind of medical stuff going on, and me being a high functioning individual, I'm the only one who can solve it. All I got to do is take her to the doctors, let the doctors do what they need to do. All I need to do is give her medication. All I need to do is do this. All I need to do is do that. I don't need, not really leaning on anybody. I think I told my mom about it one time. I didn't address the emotional tax that was happening. I still went to work. I still, was talking to her teachers, making sure that she was good. Sometimes she would forget something at home. I would leave home, drive 30 minutes just to drop it off so that she was okay during that period. And I was just talking to Dr. O about what we're actually talking about tonight. We were having a conversation about my Substacks and my page and everything. And I just shared with her, I feel comfortable. And she knows my daughter, and I felt comfortable. And in the middle of that, I just burst out into tears. And I didn't know where that was coming from because I'm high functioning. Why are you crying? What's going on? Handle it, take care of it. And in that moment, I just felt full. And she was being kind and telling me, she had the doctor side and then she had the auntie side, and and just like handle it, but also it's okay. And so I felt all of those at once. And I was able to release because I felt sad that my daughter was in pain. And I just had a moment, and that's what this high functioning reality actually looks like. You're constantly doing because you need to, because you're high functioning. You need to. But when you allow the space to have a moment, maybe with someone you trust, maybe with you taking a pause and resting and saying out loud what's happening to you, then you can really experience the true release of emotions and feelings. And so I just wanted to share that as an example. As I'm self-diagnosing myself as a high functioning individual. So this is applicable to me. So I'm also healing from this because I, from childhood, have been that kid. And I've shared in other Medical Mondays what I experienced as a child being in domestic violence. And, one can say, I often think about this because I worked with clients like this. What if I was the person who ended up on the street and was, with a pimp because I ran away, and I ran away from the home I was being abused in, and I ran away and I ended up with a pimp and then human trafficked and all that stuff. But that wasn't my story. I ended up with my family, but there was something in me that said, in order to be loved, you have to function highly. So while we can look at one story and say, oh, thank God you didn't end up, human trafficked, but I also didn't pay attention to the traumatic things that happened for a long time. which produced a high functioning person who could not get it wrong, who had to be on top, who had to be the go-to, who could not be weak, who had a dad who was like, are you the only one who has problems? Who a person who wrote a letter to her dad that said, you never say you're proud of me. And he's like, am I the one that's getting the A? Whose name is that on the certificate? That was my dad. So for me, it's like you don't get rewarded for being weak, or you don't get rewarded for having those weak emotions or big feelings. You don't get rewarded for that. You just do, and hopefully God Almighty will see your efforts and he will bless you some kind of way, but you don't get rewarded for just doing. So just be that person. So that's what it usually looks like. So I just wanted to share my personal story with that. All right, let's see. So I wanted to do a quick reflection questions. We're not going to go through all of them. Whoops, all of these shouldn't be ones. They all shouldn't be ones, but outside of that, I just want anyone to unmute and answer any one of these that resonate with you, or speaks to your situation or what you've seen in your life or your family. If I can get one or two people.
One or two people to do what, please?
Sorry?
I said one or two people to do what?
So any one of these questions, answer them for yourself or what you've seen in your family. Whether it's yourself or you've seen it in your family or in your relationships. Any one of the questions, you don't have to answer all five. Just pick one that resonates or, okay. Go ahead, sir. Papula?
Yeah, Popola is the name.
Popola Aramide.
Sorry, sir.
Hey.
Aramide, my person has
I'm
come.
so sorry.
I guess I know you did very well, man. And thank you for sharing.
That is our honorable physical therapist, Dr. Adeola Popola.
Good evening, sir. You're welcome.
I'm on attention, and Ms. Aramide, you are in the midst of very beautiful people. They are erudite, they are patient, and they are for community and for developing and bringing people like you into the limelight. May God bless your dad. I like that phrase. Are you the one? Am I the one whose name is on the certificate? It resonates. If I may mention that. Now, number question one. Yes, I'm the person everybody lays on, and at least 2 or 3 of the 40 to 70 people who lean on me daily really understands everybody leans on me. The other don't understand they lean on me. They just know it is their right. And since speaking, something inside me tells me regularly, constantly, that they have a right on me to lean on me. Okay? But sincerely speaking. So I don't know how people feel about that. The second question is that what do I imagine when the day feels empty of product after all the effort? Sincerely speaking, a couple of days, I have seen the day begin with so much optimism. And at the end of the day, I can see I'm drained of energy. The more I feel drained towards the end of the day, the more I feel the emptiness of what I gained in that day. So I think I must have learned in a not too recent time that after all, every moment you are doing something or the other, just accept it. But one feels emptied. I don't want to use failed, but I feel so drained on such days. And there are emotional sentimental in the body, like I have to make every effort to shake it off. That you try to do your best, but why didn't everything work? Okay, maybe I can carry over tomorrow. But, I'm that kind of person, but I do feel those. Yeah, just a simple response, man. The question 1 and 2.
Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate. Is there anyone I
Bridget,
want to follow up?
Bridget,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
Oh,
Go
do
ahead,
you
doctor.
want somebody else to answer? Or you want to
No.
comment?
I was gonna ask Dr. Popola a
Yeah.
follow-up question, but if you need
Go
me to move
ahead.
on,
No,
I can.
please,
Okay.
please do.
So I want to go back to number one, where you said when you answered that question, is there anyone in your life right now who actually knows what you're carrying and how weighted this feels that you are the go-to person?
I call my younger brother
Okay.
Mogaji. That means the factor of the family. I'm the eldest of my family, of a large family. And just 2 days ago, we celebrate 50th birthday of my youngest brother, who had been living with Down syndrome and a very severe type. And that was when I was 17 years old. He was born then, and I think my colleagues at University of Ibadan, they embarrassed me that your mom is still giving birth at this age, at your age. So the embarrassment, and everybody knew, I felt it was born for me to take care of. So I started doing that for such a long time ago. So seeing him coming from a floppy child, took so many years before he could walk, before he could talk at all. He still stutters, and see that his growth is not as stunted, even it's as much. It's better, a lot better than what we never thought he would live to more than 5 years or 3 years. And it has
Wow.
now turned to be 50 years. So we celebrated him about 3 days ago, Saturday precisely, turning 50 years. And I had to ask some of my colleagues who are here that is there still some hope? If somebody have lived to that age, I don't know any other person that have been Down syndrome, and every year he's been improving to such an extent that the community is functional in the community. Everybody loves him. He knows people by name. He understands. And the irony of it is that I'm looking at it now unfolding. Now, to go to that, my sister was the one who took over when I left Nigeria about 20-something years ago, almost 30 years ago, on a daily basis. Okay? And she gives me all the credit for that. So I feel at least two persons appreciate what I was doing, what it means. Because it's not what you do physically, but what your art has seems to have brought people to believe you are caring for them.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I can be clear to myself, actually. Talk less of being clear to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You help me out to make myself clear to myself.
He's asking if it's clear to you because he doesn't even know if it's clear to himself.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, very clear, very clear. It sounds like you are getting some support from not only the sister who has taken over from you when you left Nigeria, but recognizes that you have done a lot. And sometimes that is all families can offer, to say, you know what, we recognize your efforts and we thank you for it. So thank you for sharing, and happy birthday to your brother.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for joining. People wish us so well.
Wonderful,
And
wonderful.
thank you for loving so much that
Yes.
you cared for him and for others. Thank you.
Yeah, we launched a foundation too, just to save children living with Down syndrome in Nigeria, because it has been a phenomenal improvement. And I hope I've studied a little bit since yesterday, 2 days ago, and I hope we might see somebody living up to 70s and becoming more functional, even resourceful and productive. Yeah. Well, when talk about Down syndrome down the road, we'll ask some more pressing questions to people on the forum here, who I'm sure will give us a lot of insight.
We'll tackle that sometime. But remember to do that. Thank you.
Miss Bridget,
Mhm.
I see your hand up.
Yes, so good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening.
Good
This is
evening.
Richie. Okay, so I'm gonna answer one or two questions. The first one you said is the question is, what feelings comes up when you imagine doing nothing, producing nothing for the entire day? Oh my God. I feel so helpless. I feel so empty when I don't see myself achieve anything. I start having this kind of anxiety. The reason why I do that is because I think part of my most of my 10 years, I didn't do anything because I was placed in a box. So now I just want to make sure every day I get to one thing or the other, and I now took to this habit of doing to-do list for the day or to-do list for the week. So my to-do list, I had to go back and check everything that I said I was gonna do. As a mother, as someone that want to take myself entirely out of that box and keep moving on and not watching my back. Yeah. So my pace is keep achieving, keep doing things to be me and to be happy and to regain all those 10 years that I have, more than 10 years that I've lost. So that's one. And then the other one you said, I think, what do you that's this one I really wanted to answer. The experience one. It said, can you describe your headaches experience with clarity but very little feelings? But what might it means if you say yes? In the past, I'll tell you this. I was this kind of person that you're asking me a question, I'll be crying. Seriously. And you can't even hear me. I'll be sobbing, drooling, and all that. But recently, I don't know where the courage came from. Maybe I would say the courage came from the people that are around me. When you're going through things like this, the first thing that will make somebody to be confident to share their story or to have a clarity of what is happening is if you have people that believe you. Because most of the time that we go through things like this, people don't want, they think they are wearing our shoes. So they tend to want to speak for us. They want to speak for us without knowing what we're going through. They are not living with us. So they tend to judge us. So if you are not being judged and you're being supported, you understand, you can move on. People like us can move on, people that are dealing with trauma. But when it comes to you, people judging us, doubting us, or trying to stay away from us, you understand, that brings us down because you'll be thinking, just be sitting down and thinking and say, didn't this happen? Am I really crazy? But it's happening. I'm seeing it, right? You see, this is white before me, but other people are seeing black. So it tends to make us feel unwanted. I felt unwanted. I felt unbelonged. But when I came into this group, you understand, and I started having more confidence. I can share my story without crying. I can share my story without repeating myself because each time I talk about my story, then it's like I want to repeat myself continuously to make those people get into their ears. That's what I was doing. Like, hear me, it's really happening. But people are not hearing me, you understand? So then they tend to judge me. But right now, I'm in a place of no, I will not cry. I will share my story. I know out of 10, if one person can hear me and believe me, I'm okay with that. I don't need 10 people to hear me. I know I'm telling the truth and I'm not lying. So I'm going to keep sharing my story. So that's how it is. So my hardest time I have right now, I don't cry about it anymore. I think I'm stronger, more confident.
Thank you for sharing, Miss Bridget.
You
And I
know,
think,
before
sorry,
you
Dr.
continue, I just want to say that Bridget is an amazingly brilliant person. The story she told, really, I'm sure a lot of Medical Mondays family know about her story. That's Nkechi, Bridget Nkechi.
Mhm.
She went through, imagine 10 years of suppression, and she told the truth. And she couldn't say two sentences without crying.
How you doing, ma'am?
Before she'll be crying, and but she's stronger than she thinks. She was stronger even than she thought. She just needed the support to help her see that. And she's come a long ways. I'm very proud of her. Brilliant human being, and human being with a great heart.
Mhm.
Now giving back to others. We appreciate you, Nkechi.
Thank you, ma. Thank you.
I knew that voice. I was like, I think I know who this is, but I'm
You
I'm just
know who she is.
I know that voice. Very
You know
unique.
what? She didn't put on her camera. I don't know why.
I
Maybe
know,
she's driving.
but the voice alone, I knew who it was. But it's okay. Thank you so much for sharing. And I wanted to say this as a feedback to what you shared. I think I think there's power when you can share your story. Let me say this. You move from sharing it and crying to being empowered in a group that supported you. That's the key, and that's the difference. There's someone who didn't have that support and is still fighting to be believed and still fighting to really be in the spaces where other people are and to share your story without unapologetic. There's power in that. But also I want to say there's nothing wrong with crying either. If your story is moving to that point, I'll share it personally. The relationship that I was in, that I wrote my book about, domestic violence, that was 17 years ago. But I wrote my book 2 years ago. So there's been many things that I suppressed um, for all of these years. I never knew I was going to write a book about it until God told me to. Um, I was on a Zoom call in 2024 and, definitely intimate. I want to say maybe about 10 women on the call, plus the presenter, plus myself. So 10 in total. And, they just gave me the platform to just talk about my book and all that. And at some point, and the book has allowed me, and, Dr. O Medical Mondays launched my speaking on anything on any platform. So I'm very grateful, Dr. O. That was my first out the gate. Let's talk about it and all of that. Since then, multiple speaking. So one might say, there's no real emotional part to that. I can just tell it without feeling, and there's no need to cry. There's no need for this. But that's just not, they don't cancel each other out. If you feel the feelings, feel it. On this Zoom call, um, with the 10 women that I'm talking about, there was a path that conversation was going, and a memory from my experience with that man came up that I hadn't thought about in 17 years. And I froze on the call, and everybody just stared at the screen, and I froze, and I was like, whoa, I haven't thought about that in 17 years. And immediately the tears started coming down. That's how much it came up to the surface. I felt bad about it. I felt bad about being in that situation. And I felt bad for the woman that I was then who experienced such hard things. And they were very kind about it. Obviously, there was no rebuke for crying. And so I shared that to say, you could cry. You can also, it's powerful that you can share it without crying, but it's also powerful if it feels like it. If that feeling requires that, if your body, like I shared a few moments ago, talking to Dr. O in an intimate conversation about my daughter, and the feelings just rose up to the top. Sometimes that's not controllable, and that's real and it's raw, and you have to handle it. A lot of times, even in therapy, I'm talking to a client. I'm talking to a client that I've talked to for many, many sessions, and they'll say, "I'm so sorry, you made me for crying," and I'm like, "Why are you sorry? This is exactly where. So I want to encourage you, Bridget, if you have to tell the powerful part of your story and tears well up, please don't hold it back. That's my feedback to that. Don't hold it back if it requires it or calls for it, or that feeling is so palpable that it comes out, because that's real too. The thing, that's what we're talking about tonight. The high functioning person has passed through something, you've learned something, and now I'm not supposed to feel those things anymore. No, all of it is you. They're all you. Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to say something about the cry because I remember that time I used to cry when I'll call the police, and the
Okay.
police would
Well,
not be
yes.
able to, they would not be able to hear me.
Are you going to show us your face now or no?
No, I mean, more dressed up.
No problem, no problem. Go ahead.
So I was not able to, when I called the police when things happen, you understand, then I would not be able to explain myself because I have endured a lot. Then I'll start crying.
For
And they
sure.
can, and then they will not hear me and they think, oh, what's wrong with this person? Or she needs help or something. Or sometimes the police will say, oh, they will not even come say, oh, that cry person, she will, I beg, that made me feel so bad. But they didn't know the in-depth
Of
of
course.
what I was going through. And for me to call the police, I've had series of issues before I call them because I don't enjoy calling the police.
For sure.
Yeah, because I don't have evidence for them to my abuser, the person that was taunting me, the stalker that was taunting me was very clever at what he does. You understand? And when he does it, and when the police go, he will still tease me. Sometimes he would do things, and when the police goes by and they leave, he would just come by and put a gloves, and put it there on the floor for me to know that I did this, but they can't investigate anything. I used the gloves, and I'll start crying again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it didn't make sense to me, but people around me were saying, "Oh, she's having an episode." They started labeling me that I was mentally insane.
Right.
That was what a lot of people were saying, that she's mentally insane. But I was seeing me and the stalker, we were seeing what he was doing to taunt me. You understand? But when I started having people around me, and when the police started taking it further, a little bit serious, more than I thought, you understand, because of the medical Monday jumping in, he started staying away. He still do little things, but not like that time. So saying crying sometimes makes, yes, we can cry, but we should cry in front of people that believe us, because they tend to label us. They tend to say things. Oh, Koti Mogweni, she hasn't taken she hasn't taken her medicine. That's why
Yeah.
so crying can be
Traumatic.
described, can be described in another way when it comes to somebody that is going through trauma.
For sure. I agree with that 1000%. And in the midst of what you were dealing with, for sure, that makes absolute sense. And so I definitely want to validate that for sure. But I think in hearing your story and even other people feel what you feel. There's power in all of it. That's my whole point with that. There's power in all of it. And I think when crying becomes traumatic, then of course it makes a perfect sense what you feel when it comes to crying. Because you've been taught with your experience that crying is weak and crying doesn't get you heard. So that makes perfect sense. Anybody else before we move on to the next? Anybody else who wants to answer any one of these questions? Okay. I don't think I see anyone, so we'll move on. All right. So I wanted to talk about this really quick. I mentioned this earlier, the armor of praise. So high functioning trauma is sneaky because the world never tells you to stop. It just claps. So that just means that for the people that is benefiting from the high functioning nature of you, they're never going to tell you to stop. And there's some kind of hidden reward of being the high functioning one, while also you feeling the exhaustion that we already talked about. But we, even from little children, I know what my daughter's looking for when she's performing. She's in dance, and I know what she's looking for. If she sees me, she's looking for my approval eyes or my approval head nod, or she's looking for something. So even as young as a baby, they're looking for that praise. And as we grow and we learn that performing and doing well and not ruffling feathers and not being the one that doesn't always make mistakes, and being the one that doesn't make the parents cry or feel any kind of pain is a reward. And you start to build on that as a teenager, and you have to be the one that does well. You have to be the one to bring all the A's. You have to be the one to really stay out of trouble. And there is a reward in that, but there's also something happening underneath, because who is speaking to the things that you also need? Who is addressing that? Who is saying, Bridget, always, she always brings home A's. How do we reward that? How do we, for someone to actually say the words, not just give you a head nod and say good job, but actually say it in words that, you know what, good job for this. We're going to actually reward this. What you're getting, usually, the armor of praise, is that somehow you're being rewarded. Your teachers are giving you good grades for it. You're not getting in trouble with your parents. So that's how it starts to develop as a young child to a teenager to college to then you're the one who found a good husband, good wife. You just, you got the good job. You got one of the 3 or 5 jobs that parents usually want. Are you a doctor? Are you a lawyer? Are you this? Are you that? You didn't say one day, I want to be a painter or actor or something. You got a good job. You married the right person. You have your 1 to 3 kids. You are just staying out of everyone's way. And you're also carrying the load for other people. So not only are you doing all the things that everybody rewards, quote unquote, but you're also being the one to lift everybody's hand up. And so the reason why it's traumatic and it's sneaky is because it it continues to receive praise. No one is going to tell you stop being high functioning. No one's going to say stop helping me if you're the one that helps them. No one is going to do that if they're the recipients of your help. And when you compare high functioning trauma to other things that you cope from, usually the those other coping mechanisms meet resistance. If you are if you are an alcoholic, for example, people are going to reject that if that's what you use to cope. At some point, that is immediately resisted, rejected. Somebody in your life, maybe your whole family, maybe you lose your job. There's something that resists that as a coping mechanism. If you, you know, there, I'm trying to think of other things that people, drug users, womanizers, people who, different things. Eventually, those things receive resistance. And all of those things have a foundational trauma related to them. High functioning doesn't. It doesn't receive resistance. It requires you to keep doing, 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 doing. And then what usually happens is that high functioning person crashes. So without looking at it specifically, you won't know, I'm at my wit's end. It, like with the alcoholic, for example, you start to go to AA and, there's some, substance use medication that could be used, or you start going to therapy for that and all that. How does someone name high functioning trauma to then go seek help for it? Usually there's nothing related to that. Avoidance causes severe problems and behavior produces painful consequences that force reckoning. So when you avoid your own issues, that is attached to your traumatic experiences, then there's painful consequences. If you start to say, I want to start working on this issue that I know comes from childhood, then that impacts somebody who you help, or that impacts the way that you're showing up. And that has immediate effects that could impact a relationship. Like my client earlier, recognizing that, oh, my brother got something that I didn't get, it impacted the relationship for a little while. Her and her brother, they, didn't talk, and there was just some kind of friction in their relationship because she recognizes I didn't get what I needed to, and she's coming to me. She's been my client for probably more than 4 years now. Being able to name what she's going through kind of opens her up for understanding that, wow, I I was impacted by what I didn't get. Instead of intervening, society applauds. So basically, like I said, you get rewarded for your good, high functioning work. Everybody claps for you. Thank you for always showing up. You're great. You're amazing. What will we do without you? But who is intervening to say, why don't you sit down for a second? Why don't I come in and do this for you this time? You're the one always surprising everyone with a nice gift. We're going to remember you this time. What about, there's no intervention. No one is stopping you in your tracks to say, nope, no, not this time. You sit down. No, we'll take care of, this situation. You know what? You're the one that's always handling this. We got it this time. Who is doing that? There's no intervention coming your way. So that's where, and then because there's no intervention, you keep going because you now see that as a high functioning individual, it's not going to get done without me. I've heard that many, many times in therapy. Well, Mimi, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. Really? Is that really true? Or is that what you've over time been rewarded with? So, and then the last thing down here says, the very strategy keeping you from your healing is the same one earning you promotions, praise, and the reputation of having it all together. So basically, being a high functioning individual is not allowing you to have that real and honest conversation to say, I'm just tired. I'm just tired. And I don't actually want to do it. I show up like I want to do it all. I show up like I want to be there for everyone all, but I actually can't admit out loud that I'm tired and I just don't want to do it. And so that's what the armor of praise for a high functioning individual looks like. I just have a couple more slides. I just want to highlight the internal divide because it's hard as I won't say a recovering, but I'm a high functioning individual. So there is an internal divide that happens. Analyzing what success looks like on the outside versus how it actually feels on the inside. I just want to go through that really quickly. Okay, so what it looks like on the inside for what it looks like on the outside for a high functioning individual. You're usually calm under pressure. I see your hand, doctor. I'm gonna come to you in a moment. Or do you want me to, let me actually come to you now before I go into the slide. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you so very much. Honestly speaking, you hit some of us stuck in the face. And I can tell you, most people on this forum, from your definition and explanation, including me, we have been hard and other functioning. Now, are you going to say we could stop? Otherwise, we need to line up in front of you for consultation. Almost everybody on this forum that I know personally just fits that definition. And I now see that it is actually a condition, a medical condition. And that's, I want you to really know that I'm speaking for many people here. Certainly. We're
Thank you,
just that
sir.
simple praise. Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
ma'am. You can go ahead, ma'am, please.
I think Miss Ellen also has her hand up.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I just wanted to say that's why forums like these, Medical Mondays and other forums are important because people are suffering in silence, are probably being labeled high functioning, and don't know what they need to do to adjust and to apply what I will call, all of us hear this term these days, apply self care.
Yeah,
And what
yeah.
do I need to do to apply self care, to care for others? But back to the point, I can't pour out if I don't have anything in the cup.
Mhm.
And I'd like to say this sometimes to people: no is a complete sentence.
It is. It is. It is. When I started to say that, I was like, "Ooh, that feels good." Yes, it is very complete. Yep. No explanation, unapologetic. No. Thank you for sharing, Miss Ellen. So I wanted to share, and I'm gonna answer that question, Dr. Popola. I'm gonna answer that as far as what to do. You know, this is not something obviously that medication can cure. There's awareness, and then there's the shifting of what you do in your life. That's really the antidote to what we're talking about tonight, and I'm going to get to that. I have about 5 things I think on that list, so I'll share that. I think 1 or 2 slides from this one, but I want to go through this really quickly. What usually is happening on the outside. You're calm under pressure, unshakable, handles crises with ease. Basically, you you see solutions. You're the solution person. You're the one that is coming up with, when everybody is on 10, you're somehow figuring out how to be on 5, bringing everybody else down. You are unflappable, unshakable. You know what to do, or at least you'll figure out what to do. And it somehow, again, talking about the rewards, somehow you have evidence of that. You're a proven solution maker. You have proven that time and time again. And when it happens again, you sit back in your chair and you're like, thank you, God, I did it again. There's a reward for that. And there's a reward from other people, which causes them to keep coming to you. There's an internal reward because you feel happy that you have helped a crisis. So it becomes this kind of cyclical pattern that nobody comes out of, and more so you, because you're the one that always has to address crises. You're incredibly reliable. The rock for everyone. You hit every deadline. Someone says, I remember in my church, we have all these different functions, probably in most of y'all's churches too. There's lots of people, but there's really just a handful of people holding the church up. There's like maybe, if you're a big church, maybe 50 to 100. If you're a medium-sized church, maybe 20 or so. I'm one of the 20. Okay. So there's lots of things. And I remember one of my church sisters saying one time, one sister who hadn't worked with me before, she was panicking. She was like, Aramide didn't give me this before she traveled, and she did this and she did that, and I thought we were supposed to have this, and from my notes I need to make sure and I need to find out. And the other sister asked her, "Did you give her a deadline?" And she was like, well, no, because she knows when the event is and when I'm supposed to get. No, she needs a deadline. And once she said that, the other sister who has worked with me many, many times, she was like, oh, she was like, that's the only way it's going to work. But guess what? I have multiple deadlines. And somehow I will never disappoint. I'm going to add another one as I'm needed. And so that's what it usually looks like. I'm going to always make sure what someone's requesting of me is done. I'm going to, I'm a therapist and a minister, so I'm always the rock. I'm always the encourager. I'm always this, I'm always that. So I'm always reliable. I work with my youth in my church. I can't tell you how many times I get a text, and to Mimi, can you talk today? And I'm like, got therapy notes, I got a daughter, but okay, sure. And I'll have a call at 10 p.m. at night. And that call can go to 2 hours into midnight. I somehow put my baby right now, she knows, okay, mommy's talking to somebody. She'll come and kiss me goodnight and she'll go to bed on her own. And so those type of people, incredibly reliable. That's on the outside. Emotionally composed in the midst of a storm, in the midst of crisis, in the midst of everything. The high functioning people remain balanced, logical, unaffected. It appears that, you're unfazed. We're going to get through this. This is what we're going to do. This is your role. This is my role. Let's do it. Okay, everybody, let's go. That's what it looks like on the outside. Now let's talk about the inside. All right. So calm on the outside, but braced on the inside. You're not actually relaxed. You really are not. Because usually for the high functioning person, if everything kind of stayed the same, you figured out, like we already talked about from childhood, you figured out how to manage. So yeah, I'm good if everything stayed the same. When somebody brings a crisis, it's like, oh my gosh. So on the inside, you're not relaxed. You've been quietly bracing for so long that it looks like steadiness. So you're holding back what it looks like to fall apart. No one must see that. No one must see you uncomposed. No one must see you falling apart. So you can be what it looks like on the outside because you've been constantly and you always brace for a potential storm of other people's. You are constantly bracing for that. So that's why it looks that way on the outside, but on the inside, if you are honest, you're not actually relaxed because something has just been thrown into the wrench that you were not expecting and you don't want to deal with because you already have too much. You're already taking care of too much. Now, also on the inside, you're terrified of being a burden. Your reliability isn't generosity, it's actually anxiety. So if you constantly are reliable to other people, it's because you're saying, I don't want them to have to worry about me. If I present myself as being needy in any kind of way, I'm anxious of being a burden to someone else. So let me always be the reliable one. Let me not burden someone. I'm afraid that that will be too much for them because I'm always the one carrying it all. So let me make sure that I'm good. Let me make sure I show up for them and leave it at that. You show up for everyone because somewhere deep down, being needed feels safer than needing. Feels safer because for a long time, for however long, you stayed out of the way, like I said, and it was easier to just help and just be there. That just seemed a little safer, less confusion. I can sort me out as long as I make sure everybody else is okay. And lastly, you can talk about your pain like you're reading a report. Every detail accurate. Even I'm sorry, gotta move this around. Okay. Every detail accurate, every fact in place, and you somehow completely untouched by it. So what that means is that you know your story, you've shared it, you've somehow developed armor, like we talked about earlier, and you can share it without attaching the emotions that come with it. Because again, once you attach the emotions that come with it, then now you are presenting yourself as needy to someone else, which is already what we talked about is terrifying to a high functioning individual. So I can, someone says, if you were abused as a child or all these awful things that children have gone through, a lot of times in people's work or connecting with people, you can share it because it needs to be shared to either prove your point or it's the work that you do. But you've removed yourself from it because by infusing yourself in it, that requires emotions from other people that you've already believed somewhere as a high functioning person, you believed that other people can't handle it. So that's the difference between the outside versus the inside. And you can let me know if you have any questions about that. And I'm gonna move to the next slide. Okay. I'm gonna go through this really quick. The shield of intellect, when understanding replaces feeling. High functioning trauma produces individuals who can talk about like I was just saying a moment ago, talk about their wounds with remarkable psychological insight and zero raw emotional contact. They can talk, they can tell you exactly what happened and exactly how it shaped them, all while remaining safely behind a fake glass. The highly detailed insight itself becomes the final, most impenetrable layer of armor. So basically, like I was saying a moment ago, understanding the need for other people to hear your story, for other people to help in their path of healing, by sharing your story, but there is a shield around your story. There's a shield around you where it's only used for intellect. It's only used for support for other people, not anything for you because you've passed through it. You're high functioning. It doesn't impact you at all. It doesn't affect your day to day. It doesn't affect what you do, which is again all that we're talking about tonight. You have to penetrate that wall so that you can be healed, so that you can take care of yourself. Okay. So these are just a few signs. And we've already talked about these. So I just wanted to share that. The pillar, you're the one everyone leans on. Anxious rest, stillness produces guilt and active anxiety rather than restoration. Estrangement, you can describe your difficult history with composure and feel absolutely nothing. An output worth, your self-worth is tightly bound to productivity. A day without work feels worthless. And we talked about earlier, a few people spoke about what that type of day would look like. Okay, we're not gonna watch this video because I want to get to the healing and then open the floor for questions. So this is the healing. And again, it's not like another type of diagnosis where, you can take a medication for it or just talk about it in therapy. You actively have to take certain actions in order to feel better about being a high functioning individual. So practice receiving. Let someone, high functioning people have a hard time receiving. If you believe that or agree, please put a thumbs up because when I talk to clients and they're just like, no, I don't need anything. That is just not true. We all need something. We all need support. We all need love. And Miss Veronica, is that a question or you were just agreeing? I see her hands up. Okay. So practice receiving. Let someone do something for you.
Sorry, I was just agreeing to you.
Okay. Thank you. Let someone do something for you. Notice the discomfort. It is very uncomfortable. I remember my mom long time ago, and I learned my lesson. She did something for me I can't remember whether it was surprising me with a money gift or sending something in the mail or something. But I was talking to her and she was like, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And I said, Mom, are you sure? Man, if you want to make my mom mad, ask her if she's sure. If she's going to do something, she's going to do it. And so I learned that lesson, that if she's already said it, then she's going to do it. And I will receive it with love and appreciation. But high functioning people is very uncomfortable. So notice the discomfort. What is, once they've done this nice thing for me. And one thing I noticed too about myself, and I had to talk to my therapist about this a while back. I noticed this a while back, that if someone does do something for me, I'm immediately thinking about how to do something back. If you bought me this plant, a flower, I'm gonna buy you a flower and add cookies to it because I'm high functioning. I gotta make sure that you know that I saw your gift, I appreciate it, and you know what? Here you go. And I worked for a long time with my therapist why that is. It's uncomfortable. I'm the giver. I'm not supposed to receive. And the messaging from that comes from long before now. And so when I worked through that with my therapist, not only am I going to receive a gift, but I'll even ask you, are you going to take me to lunch? I can do that a little more easier now because I worked through it because I understood where it came from. But if we're honest, receiving is very, very hard for high functioning people. So notice the discomfort. That is armor. That's the protection. I'm not supposed to receive. I'm not supposed to get. I'm the giver. I'm the one that makes everyone else feel okay. But practice receiving. Number two, separate worth from output. You have inherent value on the days you produce absolutely nothing. Step off the treadmill of daily validation. So with I forget who responded to that. Nothing is relative. Nothing is relative. So if you say that, I know the question was kind of like a trick question, but I like the answer. I can't remember if it was Miss Ellen, but the response was, I write a list and I do what I can on that day, and that's perfectly fine. Doing nothing is relative, but for a high functioning person, doing nothing is in comparison to a very, very long list. And you want to shift that. I wrote on one of my articles on Substack, which is that if your day to day can only produce 40%, that is enough. If don't gauge it against yesterday and don't look at tomorrow yet. Today, I only have 40%, and that's all I got. And this is a win for today, and that's it. Move from insight to contact. Number three, if you can describe the wound but feel nothing, the work is the feeling. Often through somatic exercises, not the analytical mind. So basically, what that means is that you have to actually do some physical exercises in your body, meaning some meditation, some deep breathing, some things like that. And with that experience or that memory in mind, do that so that you can actually think about your experience, feel the real feelings, and be able to talk about it. If you stay in the analytical place, you're just telling a story. Number four, show the unedited you. Reveal one messy truth to a safe person. Like I shared with you earlier about talking to Dr. O. I don't want Dr. O to see me falling apart, but I needed to be seen falling apart. That I did not handle my daughter's medical crises. And in my head, I'm like, oh no, I messed up. How does my daughter have a medical situation? And Dr. O absolutely did not make me feel that way. She let me cry. She was like, oh my gosh. And she could actually hear my daughter beside me, mommy, breathe, mommy, breathe. And she was even validating that. You know what? She was like, listen to your daughter. How old is she? She's 9. Listen to her. She's telling you to breathe. So I felt validated by Dr. O in that moment to have a quote unquote messy situation. I didn't have an answer to what my daughter was going through medically. And she did. She gave me insight as a doctor to say, do this, do that, do that. I needed that and I needed to release. And it's okay to let someone know I I don't have it together today. And then lastly, schedule defiant stillness. Rest will feel deeply unnatural at first. If you're the go, go, go person, if you're the person who has to fill your day, start with intentional stillness, whether that's your prayer time, your meditation time, your time where your phone is on do not disturb, or anything like that. But start and let it be defiant. Defiant means nobody disturb me between the hours of 7 to 9. No calls, no nothing. And create that boundary and let everybody follow suit. And this is my last slide. You've spent so long being fine, right? You're allowed to finally be well. Be well. Be your best self. Everybody else is well because you're in their life. So why not you feel the same thing, right? So, and that's me. That is all I have. If you click this QR code, you will get to all of my information, my Substack, where this topic came from that I wrote about. You can find all my articles there. I post something every Monday and Friday, a new article, but by right now, I have about 10 articles that are already up, and I have articles coming out all the way through July. So I thank you for your time and your attention, and I hope this helped somebody on tonight's call.
Wow. Thank you so much. When you scan that QR code, it says, I am the Message LLC. I read Aramide's article on the NICS, and honestly, it's the best article I've read in a long time. Please look for it and read it. It was not only educational, it was therapeutic. It was deep. On the Knicks' recent win, after they were down 29 points. So scan this so you can get insight into Aramide's writings. They are deep. They're needed at this time. Sister Ellen Toppin said, how do you see the emotion of shame and pride impacting high-functioning people from seeking help? How do you see the emotion of shame and pride impacting high-functioning people from seeking help?
Great question. Great question.
Excellent question.
My answer to that is that I would have, if that client came to me, I would want to retrace the steps to find out, where did shame first come up? Where was shame first introduced? And and I would say, pride is a cousin to that experience, but still it was taught somewhere. And so I believe that it's very much a part of why someone would be high functioning, because you weren't allowed to mess up. So you were shamed for messing up. There were ways that people handled your mess up that you learned that I'm not allowed to. And therefore that child, or that child, middle schooler or what have you, learned that life doesn't reward any kind of way mess ups. And so the internal idea of shame then causes you to always high function I cannot mess up. I have to always be on point. You have to unlearn the idea of, and even the definition of shame itself could be questioned if you then look back to where these things came from. Where were those early lessons learned? When you now look back, should I have been shamed for that? Should I have experienced that? Should my mom, should my dad, or whoever, should they have treated me that way? And when the answer is no, then you realize I had nothing to be ashamed of. And therefore, I'm going to create authentic experiences with people that allow me to be my real me, that don't need me to only be high functioning, but allow me to mess up. I remember, and I don't know if any of my family members are on this call, but I remember, I'm a high functioning person in my family, but I remember one time my sister said something about me being a hothead and me being she described a certain characteristic that I did not appreciate. I'm like, a hothead, and I need to have things in a certain way and all that. And my friend who's, my sister who's known me all my life, and then my friend who I've known for 3 years was the one to challenge my sister to say, well, I've known her for 3 years now. I've never seen that side, because of course I've worked through being high functioning, and so I can be myself with her. We're both therapists. We know, we've cried, we've all of that. So she was telling my sister that I don't think that that's her. But one thing that I realized through that experience, after me and my sister talked about it, we cried about it, one thing that I realized was that I took upon myself to be the carrier of all the things that our family needed to do. I needed to be the one to make sure the family came together. I'm the family person. I'm the one that gathers, and I'm the one that sets up appointments. And so I recognized that, and she also did. She recognized that we want, and it's, unfortunate, we want one side of you. We don't want the other side of you. The other side that is, I want this, I want that. And I felt shame about that. I felt shame that there was a side of me that my siblings didn't like. Because I was the one always producing. I was gathering the family. There was a message about shame, about, being like this, that I understood they didn't like. And I felt terrible about it. But they also receive the benefit of the other side of it, which is that I produce. And if I'm gathering the family, the year that my dad, a few months after my dad, no, a few months before my dad passed away, the last thing that my dad said was, Aramide, I want you to get everybody together. That's all he needed to say. I had a U-Haul full of food that Christmas, because that's me. I'm high functioning. Oh, dad wants us to get together. This might be his last Christmas. My cousin who came with us, she said, who is coming? Who's coming to this party? 6 people all together. But that's me. So my family enjoys that. And I don't want them to see this side that can be rigid sometimes. And so there was shame attached to that. And again, through working through with my therapist, I realized that to love me is to have all of it. And so you start, when you know where that comes from, then you can work through the shame. That becomes it. You actually redefine it, and it's not shame. It's really trauma because someone taught you that. So I hope that answers your question.
Well,
It does.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
but I read the question a little bit also on another way. But how do you see the emotion of shame and pride impacting high functioning people from seeking help?
Mhm.
Yeah, because of the shame or pride that you excellently described, they may not seek help. But
Yeah.
my hope is that when they do seek help or encounter people in their lives that know anything
Mhm.
about emotions and feelings, that they will recognize that. That
Yeah.
even a therapist will recognize that to be able
Mhm.
to help. when they encounter them. Thank you so much for that question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bridget, you have your hand raised.
Thank you, Dr. O.
Thank you.
I just want to make a comment, if I may, please.
Please go ahead.
So to her name to
Aramide.
Dr. Aramide. Hopefully I didn't mess it up too badly.
You did it.
You did well.
Though, but it's all good.
So, you know, when I listened to your presentation, and again, thank you very much for sharing. I used to be a high functioning person. I was the one who dad expect to do all these things, and he made it clear that he expected me to do all of these things, and I was not the eldest nor the youngest. And I was kind of like smack in the middle. But then when we think of shame and pride, if I tell people that I can't do something, it might be a level of shame. But if I keep doing all the things that dad expects me to do, I am prideful, which on a whole different level is a different topic, right? It could be something that Christ doesn't expect us to have for those of us who are biblical scholars. But then I have a sense of pride because I make that proud when I do the things that expects me to do, right? So to your point, that could be seen as sort of as a as trauma, right? And it's not something that happened once, so it's not acute. It's something that happened continuously. So it now becomes an embedded, entrenched behavior.
Sure.
But when you get to sessions like with yours or with Dr. O, and we understand that, look, I think I made a comment in the chat, and we understand that I have to set my own expectation as well as set expectations for others. When I learned to recognize that, look, there's no shame in shedding tears, as I have learned over the years, tears actually make you stronger. Because as you shed the tears, to me, you understand why you are crying. And after you have had a good cry, I don't know, I know men don't cry, that's what they let people to believe. But for the women on the call, when you would have had a good cry, you feel better after because you have let out all of those pent up emotions. I'm telling you my story. You have let out all of those pent up emotions. And I say to myself as well, to my girlfriends, God rested on the 7th day. So if I feel like leaving all of the dishes in the sink and go to my bed and not wash them, that sink is not being inspected by any military officer. I am leaving there and go to bed. If I don't feel like doing the laundry this weekend, I am not going to do it. I am leaving it there because I grew up where my mom said, you had to wash the dishes before you go to bed. You had to put away the laundry before you go to bed. No, I've come to the point where I've shed enough tears over washing dishes and putting away laundry that if I don't feel like doing it, it is going to stay right there until the next day. There's no rats, there's no mice, there's no roaches. I am going to bed because my sanity is better than washing the dishes. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Oh, yeah. I resonate
Thank you so much. Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you. Wow. I have to learn that. Don't leave, you can leave your dishes. I'd wash it another time. Love it. Thank you. Bridget, you have your hand raised.
Yes. For me, the word shame does not really go down with me. The word shame means afraid. You understand? It means a different thing to me. And then the word pride, it's not pride. It's being afraid of what people will say. Seeking help or trying to get to something when you don't know who you're talking to, because maybe you've tried it sometimes trying to seek help, and people had already placed you in a box where you shouldn't be. So why would I go to get help? So I better suck it up and just be quiet. So that's the way I say it. For me, when I was dealing with my situation, even till now, I still see places where I go to where people that don't know my story will just turn around and say, "Oh, today she's come again. I beg, let's move. Lie, woman." You understand? That never happened. Even on this forum too, when I came to tell my truth, I still had people saying, "It's not true. It didn't happen." You understand? So sometimes it makes me suck things in and not say anything and not seek help that I need. But I find my help in other way by keeping my head up and saying, look, I'm not giving in. I'll keep fighting and I'll try and do it myself until I find someone that can help me. And sometimes bottling things up can just go the other way. But with the help of God, I'm able to bottle those things up and contain them in a way until I started finding help. So that's the way I see it.
And I wanted to add something really quick too. I think to add to the second half of that question, why someone would not seek help that may have experienced shame or prideful and all that. There's a level of awareness that comes with both of those, I believe. And in order to seek help, you have to be able to identify that you are and have experienced certain things, and therefore someone needs to help you with it. If you can't, if you're not aware of your situation or aware that, hey, I've been high functioning and I've been running myself into the ground and I don't ask for help, but I output all this help and I don't want to do that anymore. That's when help can be welcomed. But a lot of times, high functional people don't believe that they need the help. And so, you know, awareness has to be a part of that situation. And before help can happen, they have to arrive at that to be able to say, oh yeah, that was a bit much, or I experienced this and I think I do need someone else to step in here.
Thank you. Thank you, Bridget, for that input. Yeah, fear, anxiety, shame, pride, all of these things would manifest in different people differently sometimes. Same emotion may manifest differently sometimes. Sister Marcia said, what an awesome presentation. It is paramount to be accountable to oneself. She says she believes that one's feeling and emotion is telling, and it is not an accident. As mentioned in this presentation, not many will tell us to stop. We cannot be functioning unconsciously because it will eventually become burdensome, resentful, regretful, and only to our own detriment. Her takeaway is never to feel guilty when it is not even applicable to our well-being or life. We have to work hard at it though. She said, thank you and well done, that she learned a lot.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So thank you so much for that comment. Really, really hits home also. Dr. Lola Aderonke, the code is still on the screen. It's right there. If you scan that code that has link tree on it
Link tree.
with your phone, yeah. you will see the yellow thing on the bottom and you just click on that. So it's what you have on the screen where it says, thank you, Aramide Adedeji.
Okay, I just see it now. Thank you so
You
much.
just say it. Okay, fantastic. So Rosie baby, I love that. Kindly unmute. I love that.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Today, great presentation. I've been listening to you. It's right on point. So my theme is here. Every one of us, we all understand that, there is no blueprint to parenting. So every one of us came from dysfunctional background, whether you like it or not, because our parents has gone through a lot in their lives and they brought us up. And if we don't recognize that we have some issues and get some help, we end up passing it to our children also. And they become unconscious and start dealing with those things in the future.
Mm.
Okay. So now, let us think about how those high functioning people, they're actually trying to cover up a whole lot of things that they don't want to see. We recognize that. But at the same time, there is a fear embedded in there. I'm going to bring Bible into this, if you don't mind. In the Bible, God said we should not fear. He said, fear not, fear not. 365 times in the Bible. He said, because fear has torment. And they also said that they that fear it is not perfect. They did not make perfect in love, because perfect love casted out all fear. Because fear has torment. You will be tormented by your fear. And that fear can result in you having a low self-esteem. What is self-esteem? Self-esteem is your self-image based on system of values, memories, and feelings you have put together about yourself. And the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. You will be and become the way you think, feel, and believe about yourself. Those high-functioning people feel that they have to do so much to be recognized, to be loved, to be respected or whatever. But they don't know that they are doing those things and they are punishing themselves. So if they can take a break and ask themselves that the way they treat themselves, if other people treat them like that, how would they feel? Look at yourself in the mirror. Are you really functioning? Do you know what love is? Because if you don't love yourself, you will not, nobody else can love you.
Wow.
What is love? Love suffereth long and is kind. Love is patient. Love doesn't envy, doesn't judge, doesn't seek its own. It believes all things, it hopes all things, it endureth all things. Are you really patient with yourself? So what are we doing? So if we don't take care of ourselves, we end up passing these things to our children, and our children are struggling every day with these things. And we just want to push our children, get your degree, make your grade, make your grade. We miss the time of connecting with our children and correcting those things that we have put in our children.
Preaching.
So it becomes a generational curse. So high functioning people, yes, there is shame embedded in there. There is guilt. And high functioning people, they are very, very sensitive. Because what they are doing for other people, they expect other people to do for them. And when they don't get that in return, they start feeling that, they start feeling bad. But are you deserving? Do you feel deserving? Do you feel that you deserve to be given something? Can you receive? A lot of people don't know how to receive. They don't. So let us take a break and really see what is going on, because I believe in dealing with the root cause. I once had a client, she was a pharmacist and high functioning, but she was surprised that they keep bringing people for her to train, and those people becomes her boss. So when she came to me, she was telling me, "Oh, I don't know what's going on. I said, because I can see that you have very low self-esteem. She said, no. She said, I know that I have low self-esteem, but I cover it up so that people will not know it. I said, ooh. I said, who you are speaks so loud that when you talk, people can't even hear you. Most times people think that they can put on a Versace or whatever, they can put on a show. But guess what? Whoever that is dealing with you, they're feeling what you're feeling on your inside. I told her, I said, don't worry. I said, let me work on you. Let us take care of what's going on in there. We went back to healing a whole lot of relationships, a whole lot of, childhood trauma and all the rest of them. We worked on all those things. By the time I was done with her, guess what? Her self-esteem changed. The way she carried herself, she started having boundaries. She walked differently. She feel good about herself and everything. And before she knew it, they sent her in for training. She came back and she became on top. They promoted her. So let us just calm down. Thank you. Let us just settle down, because now people have become human doings. We're supposed to be human beings. When have you really sit down and really feel your presence, feel yourself, honor yourself, see you? Can you really see you? A lot of people can't even see themselves. They just see themselves out there. No, incorporate yourself with you. I'll stop right here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Until I heard her voice, I didn't realize that was Mrs., our counselor, Rosemary. Thank you. Thank you for that deep message. Wow. Tonight has been charged. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was powerful. That was powerful. I
Yeah.
like the one thing you said. Well, you said several things. I couldn't type fast enough to myself, but you said, "Are you actually functioning?" The quote unquote high functioning people. Are you actually functional?
Mm.
That's the question.
It's not actually functioning, really.
No.
You think about it.
You're
It's
not.
not. And Dr. Kokwola said, very true, generational trap. He put that in quotes. Generational trap of high functionality exceptions. Mentoring others could be a way of easing the pressure on oneself and have a feeling of self-accomplishment without abdicating responsibility while feeling less accountable. Generational trap. May the Lord save us from
Amen.
that. A lot of us can relate to this topic tonight, but one thing hits home hard. If we don't love ourselves, we cannot love anyone else. The rest of it is just work.
Yeah.
So loving oneself first.
Yeah, because the Bible, if you look at the 10 Commandments, the very first commandment says, "Love the Lord thy God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your being." And the second is like unto the first. Love thy neighbor as thyself. You cannot love anybody if you don't love yourself. Okay, so imagine when you are traveling in a plane. They said, in case of an emergency, put on your own mask first. You got to do that, because what are you going to teach your children, teach everybody else if you don't know it? And people treat you with the same respect and value that you give yourself.
Yep.
So do not be angry when people start treating you less than, because that's exactly how you have taught them to treat you. Okay, so let us get in touch with our power, because God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind.
Yeah.
And the only way you can be able to receive that power, get in touch with that power, is true love. It's true love.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at Ephesians 14, Ephesians 3, verse 14 to 20 said, that the Lord will grant you that you will be strengthened in your inner mind, that you will be able to comprehend with all sense what is the depth and the height and the width and the length of love which surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled with all the fullness of God. And he said, now unto him who is able to do exceeding and abundantly above all we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. We all are very, very powerful. So we have to be able to get in touch with our power. It's that power of love that you get into that will transform you to be able to understand that first commandment and the second commandment. If you know the rest 8 commandments without the number 1 and 2, it can never stand the test of time. Impossible.
Wow.
Okay.
On point.
Thank you.
If you don't put on your oxygen mask on the plane, you
can't help anybody else.
Yes, you cannot survive to help anybody else.
Yeah.
Thank you for that analogy also. It
Okay.
resonates. But I'll say something that people close enough to me know that I have started saying no. So
Okay, it's beautiful.
you know that.
Yes.
And thank you she's my counselor. So let me put it out there. And I praise God for you.
Iron sharpened iron.
Yes. I'm a counselor too. This is great.
Yes.
So I just thank God for you. And I started saying no.
Amen.
And Sister Ellen Topping said, you can leave your dishes at night. I mean, come on, Jesus rested too.
So what? So what?
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
Be you. Be yourself. You don't have to be like anybody else. No.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this deep conversation. This is a subject that people don't like to talk about. People don't want to talk about. And I just thank God for this forum. Because bring it on, we'll talk about it. But know that we are not establishing doctor-patient relationship on the forum. Sister Ellen Tappin said, failing to say no could also handicap others. And that is true.
Absolutely.
That is on point.
Absolutely.
Wow. Wow. I didn't even look at that perspective, but it is 100% true.
Yeah. Because, we influence everybody. Anyone you get in touch with, you are either saving them or you are killing them. Okay, so let us all work on ourselves so that life is beautiful. You can be happy for no reason.
Yeah.
You can be yourself. Being yourself is the most beautiful thing you can ever think of. It's beautiful. I love me. I am my own best friend. Okay.
Love it. I love it.
So let us open up. So why are you gonna be ashamed? Why are you suffering? Why are you suffering in silence? Be free. Go to somebody, speak to somebody, go to a therapist, open up, cry. Like the other lady talked about you crying. Cry. It's okay to cry. What are you ashamed of? Life is too short. Enjoy your life.
Yep.
So
thank you so much. Oh my gosh. See, we got 2 of you in one spot. So, Aramide,
yes,
if you
ma'am.
don't have any other questions, what would you like us to take home? What would be your parting words for us tonight? And we, look, Medical Mondays family, we need to take this message home maybe review it again on YouTube, because this Friday is our holiday, Friday holiday, July 4th is coming up, and people are traveling. So we will not be meeting next Monday. We'll be meeting the Monday after. And the Monday after, if you want to stop wasting money on taxes you should not pay and all of that, show up. It's going to be deep the Monday after that. So what would you like us to take home, to chew, to digest, till we see you again in July?
Okay. I want to say thank you to everyone again. Thank you for your engagement, for the questions, for your just participating in this very important conversation. Being a high functioning person, I resonate with this, and it sounds like a lot of people can resonate with it as well. Parting words would be, think of the area of life that requires this type of behavior out of yourself. What area of life? Where is that right now? And look to shift that. Sometimes, while we're high functioning, and that shows up in a lot of different places, but there's a place that you especially feel especially sensitive to really be yourself and to be messy and to be so is that if you're feeling that way at church, at work, in your family, with your children, with your spouse, with your friend group, find one or two of those places that you especially find yourself needing to function on a high level and see how you can shift that. Start small and start with that particular area. Once you do that in that particular area, the rest will follow. You'll find yourself, when you start saying no as a complete sentence, it started from one area that you said no to. And then other places started to receive your very bold and very strong no. But it started from somewhere where you're like, I could say no. This felt good. Find the area that you feel the most the space where you feel like you have to function highly and you have to be on point. Find that, start there, and start the process to heal. Start the process to work through it and allow for people to see the messy, real, beautiful you. Okay? That's my parting words. Thank you so much once again. Thank you, Dr. O, for giving me this opportunity. I appreciate you so, so much. And for encouraging me, telling me that you read my article and just, you just are such a blessing to me. So thank you so much. And thank you everyone on this call.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You are a blessing to me and to the rest of us too. You've always been. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again sometime in July. I don't know when,
Yes, ma'am.
how I'm going to move the schedule, because July is Youth Mental Health Month. So we have to come back to, address that, because we cannot leave our youths, behind. And you can go back to the past programs on YouTube or Facebook. The links have actually been posted by Dr. and Dr. Ajay to do that. And till we see again after July 4th weekend, please stay safe. Don't overeat, but enjoy yourselves. Enjoy 4th of July. Dr. Ajay had posted something. Be there for everyone. You want to read that, Aramide?
Sure.
Mindfully. Okay, go ahead.
Be there for everyone. Mindfully give yourself time, attention, and kindness. Materially support with your resources, and meaningfully be present and make a difference. As you care for those around you, remember this: do not leave yourself out. Take care of your own well-being, nurture your own growth, and protect your own peace. You matter too.
Yeah.
Dr. Sorry? Yep. That's
Wow.
what the flyer says.
Thank you so much for sharing this. Thank you. Please send it to me. That's something I want to keep.
Beautiful.
Excellent discussion. Thank you, Dr. V. I appreciate you. Sister Veronica Mitchum, thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, everyone. This was deep and it hits home.
Dr. O, as Dr. Adedeji shares it with you, would you mind sharing it with us, please?
Oh, no, it's not. Well,
When
it's,
she shares
It wasn't me.
it wasn't her. But
Oh.
I'm sharing it with you now. It was Dr. Ajay.
Oh, Dr. Ajay,
Yes.
sorry. Thank you,
Yeah.
Dr. Ajay.
And actually, he signed it. He wrote this.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sharing it with you now.
Thank you, Dr. O. It's a powerful affirmation we should all have.
Oh, you said I should share it with everyone.
Yeah, thank you,
Is
ma'am.
that what you said?
Yes, please. I was requesting on behalf of everyone.
I'm with Jerry, my selfless sister.
Thank you, Mama.
I'm doing it right now.
Thank you, Eshi. Thank
Your
you.
wish is my command.
You know that I'm flying on that your coattail. We think alike. So yeah, with the world. That's what Dr. Aramide just warned us about, not warning, but
No, it doesn't mean we still don't perform.
of course,
It's, you know, you don't outstretch yourself.